today is another one of those group interviews. I've only met one of the people that are joining us. Welcome to Small Talk.
Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Welcome to the show, everybody. And as you can see, I have a wonderful group of women with me. And I'm going to start off with introducing Teresa Martin, who's been on the show before. Welcome back, Teresa.
Thanks for having me back, Nancy, and thanks for letting me bring my tribe of righteous women along with me this time. I really appreciate it. So I would love to introduce your audience to these wonderful women. As you can see, we'll start with Jacqui since she's covered with a rainbow. Jacqui, you and I found each other in a class last year that we were working through some transformative kind of processes together. She reached out to me and we became accountability partners. But really what Jacqui is she is my soul sister from another mother. We share so many laughs every week, and she really helps push me to be a better writer and to be a better person. So I love Jacqui, and I'm so glad that you had her on the show today with me. The next person who's in red is Deshawn.
Hello.
Deshawn has been, my sister since I was born, figuratively. She has been in my life my entire life, and she is an artist and created the whole interior design of the book that I did. Mm-hmm. And she and I are actually working on our next book together as co-authors. So it is an ongoing artistic collaboration with her. And then finally, Charlotte, who is in a yellow sweater, has been an incredible force for me, whether she knows it or not. She introduced me to this idea of guided meditations through a class that we took together. And her meditations have really allowed me to go deeply inward. And I asked her to voice over some of the poetry that I wrote. And she did these beautiful recordings of my poetry and has been a part of my getting the word out there about using poetry to find yourself in this world. So these are some really beautiful women that were a big part of my writing of the first book and continue to be a part of my life moving forward.
That's awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. It's really my pleasure to have you all on here. So, Teresa, you mentioned your second book.
Yes. Deshawn and I are actually in the midst of writing our second book. It'll be on caregiving this time, really about a woman taking care of an older woman and what that relationship looks like and how it unfolds and some of the tricks of the trade and lessons learned and lifelines. Deshawn and I have spent a lot of time putting together something that was heartfelt, but that someone would really want to read, even if when you're in the thick of the mess of life of taking care of another woman.
Right.
We're working hard on that.
Okay. So now I've gotten everybody mixed up. Okay. So Rainbow Lady is
Jacqui.
Deshawn is in the red. Oh, you're right there. Oh, I'm so dumb because I can see. Sorry about that, ladies. I can see your names right there. So Charlotte, what is your involvement with the other ladies? Now, I know what your involvement is with Teresa. Are you also involved with the other ladies?
No, I know Jacqui from the same sort of circle. So I met Teresa on the same group that Jacqui was doing, but no, I don't know the other ladies.
Okay. And what about you, Deshawn? Do you know, well, obviously you don't know Charlotte because she doesn't know you.
Right, I've only heard Charlotte's voice. It's nice. This is an opportunity to put a face with the voice, which is, your voice is so lovely, and you've just served the whole projects for Teresa so well. I mean, I just kind of fell in love with your voice. And I know Jacqui through Teresa and another group that Jacqui has, her Happy Friends group, and I've gotten to know her better, and we're anticipating maybe working together in the future as well on another project, so we'll see. Okay. Connections.
Right, yeah. And I'm going to start with you, Jacqui. What is it for you that helps you connect with other women? Because not all women like to connect with other women.
I don't know. I think there's just something, isn't there? There's just that spark. There's just that, you just know when you meet somebody, you just know. It's like it's sort of it's quite surreal. It's almost being to being. I think it's energies connecting rather than I think when you get to know somebody really well, I don't really even see the physical anymore. I just see an energy.
Right.
and a movement. So I don't know if it's anything particular. It's just like some people just light you up.
Deshawn, have any of you met in person?
Well, Teresa and I certainly have. We've literally have known each other since we were born.
Right.
So, we share DNA a little bit in there. So, but no, I have not met the other ladies in person.
So Charlotte, other than this group, have you connected with other groups of women?
Yes, on the course that I met Teresa, I met just the most amazing women. I have, even though I'm in England and everybody else is in America or Germany, I feel like I've connected with this beautiful group of empowering women who have taught me so much, and how Zoom has enabled us to connect with each other, even though we are miles and miles apart. It has really been a wonderful journey meeting everybody.
That sounds so wonderful. And yeah, I'm thankful for Zoom, because I wouldn't be able to do this with all of you.
Yeah.
This is really wonderful. I had a question in my head and it's just gone. Let me just think for a second here what I was going to ask. I was going to ask Teresa something. Now I forgot what I was going to ask her. But anyway, let's get back to your second book while I rethink what I was going to ask before. You said it's on caretaking, correct?
Yes, I'll let Deshawn speak to it.
Okay, great.
Well, when I knew Teresa already had this plan for quite a long time in her head about caregiving, and so we had talked about it a lot, and we were even talking about it while we were working and finishing up Fly With Me with the design layout. And then she kind of, after we completed Fly With Me, then she hit me with this price. She's like, oh, I'm ready to get started on the next one. And I was like, come on, let's go. Because I was like, I am definitely doing this book with you as designing. And she goes, yeah, I'm thinking that maybe you should, do something else. And I'm like, uh-oh, getting outside my wheelhouse. And so then she goes, I want you to co-author it. And I was like, what? Now I need to share. And then I really had to think on that for a few days. That was really daunting. And I was thankful. And also like, I'm not sure that that's the challenge I should accept and all those questions. But to complicate it more, I'm actually in the middle of caretaking right now. So that was another issue, was like, is that a good thing to be in the middle of this and take this on or not? Or what do I bring to the table? So ultimately, obviously I said yes. But I also had to disclose to Teresa, I'm like, we're writing a book and my problem is that when I would, I've been caretaking for a year now and it's ongoing. And I'm like, I haven't yet personally to buy any book about caretaking.
Right.
And then I said, there's too much going on. I don't know that I don't think I can absorb. I mean, I need help and information, of course, I do, but I don't think I can absorb. So who am I writing to if I need to be able to be 100% behind a project kind of thing. So we talked that out and Teresa said like the magic words to me, which was, let's write the book you'd want to read.
Wow.
You know what is that book? And that has led us on an incredible journey so far. I feel real empowered, and it's made me really think about what to bring to the table and what I would, it's like talking to myself or somebody that finds themselves dropped into this situation. Like, I want a book that say, yes, you need this, and it's not scary, and it's going to be helpful, and it's going to help you. So that's our goal, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, as somebody who took care of a husband, until he passed away, having help or knowing what to look for or what you're dealing with, because it didn't hit me until 6 months after he passed away. Because you have no idea what you're dealing with.
No.
Changing the subject, Charlotte, what are you doing in the future? What's the future holding for you or looking like for you?
Well, I have no idea. Things seem to change so quickly. And, at the moment, I'm doing another degree. I'm still a practicing hypnotherapist because that's what my main job is. And hopefully some other doors will open with other amazing women. Or I love doing voiceovers. I love reading things for the people, putting music to the readings as well. That is what I absolutely love. So ideally I'd love to do that, but there's nothing on the table at the moment.
Okay. A question.
Let me toot Charlotte's horn for her.
Sorry, say that again.
So let me toot Charlotte's horn for her, since she's not. I was at, the LA party, because I live in Los Angeles, and some people asked if they could hear some of the poetry recordings that, we had done. So I hit one that Charlotte had done, and immediately a director here in LA was like, I need that voice.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I'll let Charlotte know. I'm not sure if she's like doing the LA thing. And they have collaborated on a project that is incredible. I was able to see the trailer of the movie, and it is just incredible to hear her voice with a science fiction action film happening behind her. It's just really incredible.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Charlotte. That sounds wonderful.
Thank you. I really enjoyed doing that. It was amazing.
I have another question for you. As a hypnotist now, is everybody able to be hypnotized?
Well, most of my clients, I think people always come very skeptical about hypnosis and very, very afraid of it, because it's so different, and you tend to only see what you see on TV, the clicking their fingers and the watch and things like that. But when it's a more therapeutic setting, it's about them trusting you, and you're going slow and careful, and people, and understanding that everybody goes into hypnosis differently. I think people expect maybe to have absolutely no idea what's going on, but not everybody goes into hypnosis like that. So I think it's a lot of understanding what hypnosis is, and I think most people can go into some form of hypnotic state. Yes.
I asked because I tried it once, and I just wasn't able to go there, I guess is the best way to put it, right?
I think the thing is sometimes you've got to give it time and trust the process. You've got to like your therapist. That's huge. If you're not sure about your therapist, you won't go. And it takes practice. If you go for one session and it doesn't work, don't give up. Continue with it and allow it to become a part of, your routine in the day, and that's what the brain likes. It likes to get used to what it's doing.
Right. Okay, great. Jacqui, what do you have coming up in the future? Anything special or interesting, or probably going to be interesting?
I have a million things going on, but we're all in a period of transformation. So as Charlotte says, who knows what the future will bring? I'm currently working on my website. I'm looking to do a book project with Deshawn in the new year. And I'm an accountant by training. So January in the UK, self-assessment is our big time coming up. But just enjoying life. But what I would also like to do at this juncture is just to thank Teresa, partly for her beautiful introductions, but also because she is such a generous and giving person. She shares her resources, she shares her time. And in preparation of this, I reread this afternoon. And towards the end, it just struck me that in some ways we all need to mother ourselves. We talk about the self-care and the healing and the inner child, and it just struck me that it was a call to all women everywhere, really. Mother yourself first, look after number one, and then you can look after everybody else. So I'd like to say thank you, Teresa, for being part of our world and for having us. We wouldn't be here without you.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you in my world. And again, I'll toot your horn too, Jacqui, since you didn't. Jacqui actually has an incredible group that she hosts every week called Happy Friends. And it's a Zoom gathering like this. And she has an incredibly large following of people who come and go throughout the weeks to just share and be supportive of one another's passion projects and what they're doing next with their lives. So if I want to write a book, it was the place that I read my first piece of poetry ever out loud to the audience. And now when I go on live, I'm like, oh, wow, I can do poetry reading, no problem. But it was because Jacqui gave me that venue to try it. So it's really an incredible group that she hosts.
Right. And
I like to think of it because I just like think of it as let us be your confidence until you've got that confidence yourself.
very nice.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Teresa, you know, I really enjoyed your book. How is it going? Are you still doing great with the sales?
You know, it's really incredible, actually. What's occurring from it is I've been donating the proceeds of the sales to the Kung Fu nuns. And so they're generating through this process, they're generating all this enthusiasm around what they're doing.
Mhm.
And it's just exciting to have people that I don't know try to connect with me through social media and just talk to me a little bit about the book or a little bit about the Kung Fu nuns or a little bit about one section of it. And it's almost like it gave people the permission to be vulnerable with me because I was vulnerable in the book. And that means people that maybe I knew in my past that have come forward and back into my life, or people I don't know at all. It's just been an incredible relationship building kind of tool. And I wasn't thinking that, but it's just been incredible. The response has just been, and I was on another podcast recently, you know, for women's empowerment. And the feedback I got through that was just incredible as well. You know, women who are already in that space, how they responded to it.
Very good. Now I'm going to throw something out there totally different. You know that we're facing a lot of environmental challenges right now. And Teresa, we'll start with you. What are your personal concerns, or do you have, you know, or do you think about it, or you're so busy doing other things?
No, I would say that my biggest concern is that actually my sons, I have two sons that are 18 and 20, almost 21. Mm-hmm. And to watch them navigate this world, knowing that our generation, frankly, has left them with college debt, an environment that's going to hell, healthcare, that system that's not working. I mean, my sons are really reacting to the global environment that we've allowed to occur on our watch. And I take responsibility, as I do, I think most people in my age group do, that, and I watch what my sons are navigating. And it's really tough for them to navigate this, where they're like, okay, well, why would I go to college and get in debt? I'm not going to get a job anyway. And even if I do, I'm not going to get healthcare. And if I get sick, I'm not going to get well. And to hear their pervasive negativity, and it's not really about their age or their temperament, but it's an undertone, and I see it with their friends, is really, really hard. And that's what disturbs me the most, is what have we left our kids?
Right. I had a show, it hasn't aired yet, but I just did a show with a politician for the Green, represents the Green Party here in Chilliwack, Hope area in BC, and a physicist and another politician. And one of the subjects we were talking about is how do we get things on track? We're so far off track. We can move forward if we get everything, you know, get the government to act. Jacqui, I'm going to ask you this next question. What do you think we can do? How can we get the government to react the way we need them to?
I think grounds politics is just not my thing. I have to say that straight up.
Right.
I'd probably bring it just closer to home. The whole, you know, be the change you'd like to experience, and be very mindful about what we're doing as individuals. Because I think the biggest change or the biggest difference we make in the world is who we are. Yeah. It's not what we say, it's not what we do, it's who we are as people. And I think we'd go a long way if we would sort of follow the, you know, do no harm, be kind. And yes, that might sound a bit like Pollyanna, and I am under my rainbow, but I think if you can actually genuinely live that, and everybody live that, sort of lead by example, then I think that's how you'd get, and I think that is the way to change, like one person at a time. So sort of almost model the behavior.
Right, yeah. Deshawn, this is to you. Like my area, I wasn't personally affected, but we had a real problem in November with flooding, and people lost their homes, lives were lost. Has anything like that happened around your area, anywhere where you are?
Well, I grew up, and I am currently, though I don't live here anymore, I'm currently in South Florida. And so over my lifetime, you know, hurricanes are the norm. thankfully, I personally have not ever been had property and stuff any severely harmed or people severely harmed by hurricane, but I've certainly lived in the zone and gone and evacuated many times. Of course, now just in this last couple of years, hurricanes have just gotten epically huge and terrifying, and I think this is all connected. I'm definitely very much like, and then everything that just happened with the tornadoes up through out of Arkansas and Kentucky and Tennessee. I have a lot of people that I personally know there, and I'm kind of a weather nerd, so I watch these things. I stayed up all night watching, and there, that was absolutely extraordinary and unheard of. It's completely out of bounds. And I'm so kind of worried about all that. It's not going to get better, no matter if they changed everything tomorrow. We're going to have this in our life. And Teresa's in California, and they keep going through fires, and eventually we'll know there'll be the landslides and mud. And so I am very, very concerned in the short term. I have to have hope and faith that the people are, we've never seen as big of a push about climate change and making real change. So I'm like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep beating the drum. I don't know if we're moving fast enough. Of course, we're already behind. But yeah, it's a big concern. I also would like to add really quick onto what Teresa said in regards to her two sons. I'm going to kind of toot their horn a little bit on her behalf. And her sons have both made a decision. One's already deep in it. Teresa can fill in the exact organization name, so it's correct. But with the state of California, the older one has already been doing it quite a few months, working with the firefighting teams and learning and working his way up the literal ladder to help protect property, natural resources, and people. And her younger son is about to join that same organization. And they feel really passionate about it, and they feel like it's something actionable they can do right now. While they're also feeling like, why do this? Why do that? They actually found a thing to plug into, and they're doing it. I think that's amazing.
Right, absolutely. I totally agree. Now, Charlotte, one of the things I think is women often don't realize the power they have, right? If we could get women to connect more than they do now, like we could really make change. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, absolutely. I think if we support each other, instead of fighting each other, which happens, we see, lots of body shaming going on and things like that. I think if we all loved each other and had each other's back, we would be an absolute power force.
One of the things I think about is that the reason why more women are not in politics and in positions of authority, they're not allowed that often, blocked from that, is because I believe some people are afraid of women's power, right?
Yeah. And
so we're blocked from being in those positions. And we know, because we are the mothers, we are the caregivers, I think we could do a really awesome job.
Yeah.
What about COVID? Teresa, we're going to talk with you. I'm affected personally by, my son lives in China, and he can't come here and I can't go there, right, during this time, of course. And it's been, it's been ongoing for a while now, and it's really tough. How are you affected?
Well, I'm actually a nurse on the front lines, so in Los Angeles. So I'm a palliative nurse. So when I go to the hospital, our job is to have those harder conversations with the families,
right,
about, your loved ones come in and you can't visit now because they have tested positive for COVID. And here's, what the medical prognosis looks like. And we need to start making some life goals of care and life kind of decisions.
Yeah.
So I do that for a living. And I would say that COVID has been incredibly hard to operate within as a nurse.
Right.
I just finished presenting a collection of poetry about nursing up from the front lines I presented it to a very large symposium of researchers in medicine. It
Right.
was very well received because I just talked about, it's all about death. I mean, we can talk about vaccines, we can talk about masks, we can talk about all those things, but really the conversation really is about death. And so I did write a series of poems about that and what the real impact is. And it was well received, very well received. And I was very happy to be given the opportunity to not present nursing research on COVID, but instead present poetry.
Right.
And we need to talk about the feelings around COVID as much as we need to talk about the research and the political actions.
Yeah, great. And by the way, thank you for what you do. I think it's awesome. Charlotte, how about you? Are you affected?
Not as in I'm on the front line. It's changed people's mental health, and I work in mental health, and I've seen the effects it's had upon my clients, which has created a lot of anxiety, lots of physical symptoms, like somatic symptoms, people with really tight chests, worrying. So yes, and my clients fearing going out, and it's actually really scary when you think about it. You've already got a mental health issue, and then COVID's thrown into the mix, and it's even scarier. So yeah, we have been affected by it with regards to the mental health side of things.
For sure. Deshawn, to you, now I'm a person who believes in the vaccine, and not everybody does. And I recently put a post on because I just had my third vaccine. I had to have a full dosage because I'm like 73 years old, right? And I put that I had side effects. And then I get all this negativity from people. Do you get any of that yourself?
Oh, that's interesting. I just had my booster, by the way, so was happy about that. And yeah, I did have side effects from the second and the booster, which I slept a lot, which was actually really welcome. So I'm like, I love it. I have no complaints. Sleeping for 10 hours straight was amazing. The people that I talk to, they're real careful about that around me because the people that know me, first of all, know that I'm not real good at keeping my mouth shut. So if they want to cross that line with me, bring it. First of all, I believed in science. Of course, in the very beginning, I was like, oh, please, make this vaccine work and not be something adverse to a lot of people. I wanted it to work so bad. And then I think when you're vaccinating thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, the evidence is pretty clear. It's not a problem. So, but I got it as soon as I could. And now, it's not just about me or my husband, it's also I'm caregiving. And I feel a great pressure about I have to be triple responsible about myself because I already know I could never live with myself if I was the one that brought it in the house. That would just break my brain and I couldn't handle it. But I also, I live in a state that is not supported by its politicians at all. And as a matter of fact, they've gone out of their way at every step. I mean, this is not my opinion, this is just fact, in every way to be anti-vax. So I kind of feel like every time I walk out, I'm like, it's a minefield. And I've often joked, I wanted to, to make a t-shirt and says, at least wear your mask and don't kill my mother.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
And it makes me so mad to have selfish people. And that's, and otherwise it's affected me a lot, in other ways as well. But that's my number one thing. It's stop being selfish. If you're not going to get the vax, wear the mask. Absolutely. What's the problem?
I just got a notification from Zoom that we're almost out of time. So Jacqui, put the last question to you. By the way, my arm's itchy. It's all swollen from the vaccine.
It'll be okay.
So Jacqui, what's happening for you when it comes to COVID?
In terms of COVID, I just think COVID, it was like Mother Nature hitting the pause button.
Yes.
saying, human race, you cannot continue the way you're going. You know, you're on a path of self-destruction. You have to do something about it. And the first lockdown, which was a real lockdown, how quickly did the earth recover or start recovering? And my big thing is, you know, the earth will recover. It's us that will die out.
Right.
So that's my, and in terms of, and when we went into COVID, I was determined that I would come out of lockdown better than I went in, so that I would use that time fruitfully. I was grateful for the gift of the time that I had with my daughters, which I wouldn't normally have had, because obviously they weren't in school and they weren't at uni. So it was lovely to have them home.
Right.
I believe in the vaccine. I'm a scientist. I've got a chemistry degree, so I consider myself a scientist. I'm an accountant. I risk analyze all the time. Right. And the smart thing to do for me was to get the vaccine. So yeah, I've had the booster. And just answering to Deshawn, I would never tell anybody what to do. Yeah. But I do think if people are refusing to wear a mask, it shows a complete disregard for anybody else. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
Mine too.
Good. Well, that's it, ladies. I'm sorry I'm out of time. And Teresa, I just want to say thank you again for bringing all these wonderful women together, and so that I can get to speak to you, all of you. It was awesome.
Can I send you their websites so that you can put them on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Great.
And to the audience, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you continue to tune in and be safe and take care, and peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.